Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today, we're exploring one of the Bible's most intriguing topics, the three men who never died. That's right, while death is something we all expect to face, the Bible introduces us to three unique individuals who were taken to heaven without dying. So, who are these remarkable figures? Let's dive in and find out. First, we have Enoch. Enoch lived long before the Great Flood. In a time of moral decay and sin, the world was growing increasingly wicked, with people's thoughts and actions continuously evil. Yet amidst this darkness, Enoch shone as a beacon of righteousness. He was the seventh generation from Adam, a direct descendant through the line of Seth, and the father of Methuselah. Methuselah is noted as the oldest man in the Bible, in 969 years. Enoch's lineage directly connects him to the patriarchal line leading to Noah, crucial for human redemption through the flood. Enoch was not just an ordinary man. His life marked a significant departure from the sinful tendencies of his peers. While others around him were falling deeper into sin, Enoch chose a different path. He walked with God, setting him apart from everyone else. At that time, his decision to live righteously in a corrupt world highlights his incredible faith and dedication to God. Enoch's defining trait was his close relationship with God. Genesis 5:24 states, Enoch walked with God, then he was no more, because God took him away. To walk with God signifies continuous, intimate fellowship with the Creator. Unlike others who turned away from God, Enoch remained steadfast in his faith. Walking with God means living in a way that pleases Him, involving daily communication, obedience, and trust. This is a profound testament to Enoch's character and spiritual discipline. Enoch's walk with God wasn't just about following rules. It was about a deep, personal relationship. It involved daily conversations, listening to God's guidance, and aligning his actions with God's will. This level of intimacy with God made Enoch's walk unique. His life was a continuous journey of faith, prioritizing God above all else. This relationship was so strong and pure that it pleased God greatly, leading to the extraordinary event of God taking him away. The brevity of Enoch's account in Genesis has sparked much speculation and elaboration in other ancient texts. The Book of Enoch, an ancient Jewish religious work, offers a more detailed narrative of Enoch's life. This book includes his encounters with divine beings and his journeys through the heavenly realms. While not included in the canonical Bible, the Book of Enoch has influenced Jewish and early Christian thought. It portrays Enoch as a scribe of righteousness and mediator between God and humanity. This highlights Enoch's exceptional spiritual stature. In the Book of Enoch, we learn about Enoch's visions and his role in revealing divine mysteries. He is taken on journeys through different heavens, where he sees the future and receives knowledge about God's plans. These experiences deepen our understanding of why Enoch was so special. His life was filled with divine encounters, enriching his spiritual journey. Enoch's story is significant for several reasons. Firstly, it shows the possibility of living a righteous life, even in a corrupt and sinful world. Enoch's faithfulness sets an example for believers to follow. Hebrews 11:5-6 reiterates this by saying, by faith Enoch was taken from this life so that he did not experience death. He could not be found because God had taken him away. For before he was taken, he was commended as one who pleased God. And without faith, it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him. Enoch's life demonstrates that a deep personal relationship with God is possible and highly pleasing to him. Moreover, Enoch's translation to heaven is often seen as a prefiguration of the rapture. This provides hope that believers will ultimately triumph over death and enter God's presence. His life is a testament to the rewards of faith and obedience. Enoch's story is not just about his escape from death, but about the kind of life that led to such an extraordinary event. Next, we have Elijah, one of Israel's greatest prophets. Elijah's story unfolds during a turbulent time in Israel's history. The nation was ruled by King Ahab, who, under his wife Jezebel's influence, led Israel into deep idolatry and Baal worship. This was a dark period for Israel, as they had turned away from worshiping the true God. Despite the widespread apostasy, Elijah remained a steadfast servant of Yahweh, boldly delivering God's messages to the people. His very name, which means, Yahweh is my God, signifies his mission and identity. Elijah was a prophet with a powerful presence. He was known for his boldness and his ability to stand alone against the tide of idolatry. His sudden appearance in 1 Kings 17, with no background or introduction, highlights the abrupt and direct nature of his mission. Elijah's ministry was marked by miraculous events and powerful demonstrations of God's power. He wasn't afraid to confront the highest authorities of his time, including King Ahab and Queen Jezebel. His courage and faith were instrumental in turning the hearts of the people back to God. Elijah's life was marked by several extraordinary events. He first appears in 1 Kings 17, where he declares a drought upon the land as punishment for Israel's sins. This drought lasted 3.5 years, demonstrating God's power and Elijah's prophetic authority. During this time, Elijah was miraculously sustained by ravens at the brook Cherith, and later by a widow in Zarephath. He also performed the miracle of multiplying her food supply and raising her son from the dead. One of the most dramatic moments in Elijah's ministry was his confrontation with the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel. This event, recorded in 1 Kings 18, was a public showdown between the God of Israel and the false god, Baal. Elijah challenged 450 prophets of Baal to call down fire from heaven to consume their sacrifice. Despite their fervent prayers and rituals, Baal's prophets failed. Elijah then prepared his altar, drenched it with water, and prayed to Yahweh. God answered by sending fire from heaven to consume the sacrifice, the altar, and even the water in the trench around it. This miraculous display led the people to proclaim, "The Lord, He is God. The Lord, He is God," and resulted in the slaughter of Baal's prophets. Another significant event in Elijah's life was his encounter with God on Mount Horeb. After fleeing from Jezebel's threats, Elijah traveled to Horeb, where he experienced a powerful theophany. God revealed himself not in wind, earthquake, or fire, but in a gentle whisper. This encounter reassured Elijah of God's presence and purpose, and he received new instructions to anoint new leaders for Israel. Elijah's departure from earth is one of the Bible's most spectacular events. In 2 Kings 2, we read that Elijah knew his time was near. He journeyed from Gilgal to Bethel, then to Jericho, and finally to the Jordan River. He was accompanied by his disciple Elisha. Along the way, groups of prophets at each location acknowledged that the Lord would take Elijah away that day. At the Jordan River, Elijah performed a miracle by striking the water with his cloak, causing it to part so he and Elisha could cross on dry ground. After crossing, Elijah asked Elisha what he could do for him before being taken away. Elisha requested a double portion of Elijah's spirit, which Elijah said would be granted if Elisha saw him being taken up. As they walked and talked, a chariot of fire with horses of fire appeared and separated them. Elijah was taken up to heaven in a whirlwind. Elisha witnessed this and cried out, my father, the chariots and horsemen of Israel." He then took up Elijah's mantle, symbolizing the transfer of prophetic authority, and began his own ministry. Elijah's ascension is more than a miraculous event. It serves as a potent symbol of divine approval and the continuation of God's work. His departure in a chariot of fire marks the dramatic conclusion of his earthly ministry and the commencement of Elisha's. This event underscores the themes of divine transportation and transformation, transcending earthly constraints. Elijah's life and ascension are deeply significant. His steadfast faith and bravery in the face of opposition showcase the power of remaining true to God's word. Elijah's miracles and ascension affirm God's sovereignty and his active involvement in human affairs. Elijah's story also anticipates the end-time events detailed in the New Testament, especially the rapture and Christ's second coming. Moving on to Melchizedek, a mysterious figure. We encounter him in Genesis 14, after Abraham's triumph over the kings who had captured his nephew Lot. Melchizedek is introduced as the king of Salem, meaning peace, and a priest of the Most High God. He presents bread and wine to Abraham, blessing him and declaring, "Blessed be Abraham by God Most High, creator of heaven and earth, and praise be to God Most High, who delivered your enemies into your hand." Abraham responds by giving Melchizedek a tenth of all he has, acknowledging his spiritual authority. Melchizedek's brief but significant appearance reflects his unique role as both king and priest, a rare combination in ancient times. His kingdom, Salem, is often linked with Jerusalem, and the fact that he blesses Abraham and receives tithes highlights his superior spiritual authority. Scholars often view Melchizedek as a prefiguration of Christ, who similarly embodies both king and priest roles. Psalm 110:4 and Hebrews 7 elaborate on Melchizedek's significance, portraying him as a type of Christ. Psalm 110:4 states, "The Lord has sworn and will not change his mind. You are a priest forever, in the order of Melchizedek." Hebrews 7 further explains that Melchizedek's priesthood surpasses the Levitical priesthood as it is grounded in righteousness and peace, rather than genealogy or law. Melchizedek's enigmatic nature and unique priesthood foreshadow Christ's eternal and universal priesthood. The Epistle to the Hebrews emphasizes that Jesus is a high priest forever in the order of Melchizedek, highlighting the everlasting and universal nature of his priesthood. In summary, these three men, Enoch, Elijah, and Melchizedek, who never died, hold significant places in the biblical narrative. Due to their unique relationships with God, their stories are powerful reminders of faith, obedience, and divine favor. Enoch's close walk with God, Elijah's prophetic ministry and ascension, and Melchizedek's dual role as king and priest all serve as profound lessons in the Bible. Thanks for joining us in exploring these remarkable figures. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights into spiritual and biblical topics. See you next time.